Hello students, I know you are very excited to go through a new thing today, and I'm also very excited. Before we actually delve into the text, I want to give you a brief idea of what we are going to study, what kind of literature you are going to study. Now, all these years, you have been reading short stories, you have read novels, you have read poems. But today, what you are going to read is a completely different genre of writing, and it's drama, as you all know. Now, what is the difference between drama and the other forms of writing which you already know? Now, drama, the word drama has been derived from the Greek verb. It's called drao, D-R-A-O, which means to enact or to perform. Now, in this genre of literature, this writing is meant to be enacted, unlike being read like novels and short stories. Here you will see people, different kind of things, events, dialogues are all represented or all presented through conversation. Dialogue between two characters, three people, or maybe many people together talking, or you may have a particular character speaking to himself. Okay, so and you will see the similar characteristics as you see in different other form of writing or any other story, as such that it will have a plot, it will have different characters, there will be conflict among the characters, and there will be dialogues and different location, which is very important in a drama. You will see when you go through the book, you will see that on every page, or it has been divided into scenes. Now every scene is in a different location. Somewhere it is written in the street of Venice, somewhere it is written in Belmont, like that. So the location changes. Now there are two basic divisions of drama. What are they? You are very familiar with these two words, comedy and tragedy. But our Merchant of Venice does not fall under any specific category because it has got the traits or the characteristics of both comedy as well as tragedy. Many people have termed it as a tragic comedy, and it was written by William Shakespeare, as you all know. And this person, William Shakespeare, he was born in Stratford upon Avon, England, on 23rd of April 1564. He belongs to the Elizabethan time. If you go and read the history of English literature, so he belongs to that era. Now about this play was written between 1596 and 1598, and this play is very famous. This drama is very famous, especially remembered because of its dramatic trial scenes and the speeches of Portia and Shylock. Now, coming to the theme on which the story has been written. Now, Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice deals with different themes. What are the themes? The themes are of friendship, love, money, true wealth, hatred, mercy, justice, and very importantly, the difference between appearance and reality. Now all these themes you will see interrelated in this drama, and it crops up, appears in different forms or in different ways throughout the play. Now we come to the different characters. I'll introduce you to the main characters of the play. So we begin with the Jewish money lender in Venice, whose name is Shylock. He is hated. As he is a Jew, he is hated by the Christian community and especially by Antonio, who ill-treats and mistreats, insults him in public. And because he is a money lender, he takes loan, and Antonio hates him because he charges high rate of interest. And Shylock is so angered, he is so furious that when he got the slightest chance of scheming against Antonio, he did not leave it. So he plotted against Antonio and made him sign a bond when Bassanio had come to him to borrow money. So he had made him sign a bond in which it is written that if Antonio, who was a security for Bassanio, if Antonio fails to repay the bond or he forfeits the bond within the stipulated time, Shylock will have the right to exact 1 pound of flesh from anywhere of Antonio's body he likes. Now the next character is the merchant, who is the merchant in the title, the Merchant of Venice. He is none other than Antonio. He is the rich merchant who has his ventures, who has huge argosies, and he has his ventures at sea. Now he asks his friend, whom he loves very dearly, much more than his own life, who is Bassanio, and he asks him to go to Shylock to borrow money when he did not have enough cash in hand to furnish Bassanio to go to Belmont. In spite of knowing how cruel Shylock is, Antonio signs the bond because of his friend. Now we come to Portia. She is the wealthy heiress of Belmont and who has been left by her father a lot of wealth. She is very intelligent, and all suitors all around the world, they come to Belmont to win over Portia. Now she has got a limitation that she cannot choose a husband or marry as per her own wish, because she is bound by her father's will, that she can only marry that person who will choose the right casket among the 3 caskets which her father had made a lottery system, and the person who would have to choose the right casket. Now comes Bassanio. Bassanio is another Venetian, very handsome looking Venetian and a dear friend of Antonio. And he is in love with Portia, the wealthy heiress, and for this he comes to Antonio to take a loan. But just because Antonio at that present moment was unable to help him, he had to go to Shylock to borrow money, and Antonio, as I told you, stood as a guarantor for him. The next one is Graciano. He is Bassanio's friend, and he is a completely different kind of a character, very talkative, witty and garrulous, and at the same time very, very rustic. He is not at all gentlemanly. The next one is Lorenzo. He is also another young Venetian who is in love with Jessica, who is the daughter of Shylock. Now we come to Jessica. Jessica, as I told you, she is the daughter of Shylock, a Jewess, and she's very beautiful, charming, and is a very witty person. And lastly, it is Nerissa, who is the lady in waiting or maidservant of Portia, and also she is a constant companion for her. Now, I will give you a brief synopsis of the story so that you can get a rough idea. I'll read it out for you. Antonio, the merchant of Venice, gives 3,000 ducats to his friend Bassanio so that he can marry the wealthy and beautiful Portia of Belmont. Since Antonio's money is tied up in business that depends on the safe return of his ships from sea, he borrows the money from Shylock, a Jewish moneylender who has previously insulted for his high rate of interest. Shylock proposes a bond according to which if Antonio does not repay the loan, Shylock will have the right to a pound of Antonio's flesh. Portia's father, on the other hand, has decided that she will only marry the man who chooses the right casket from among the three, that is gold, silver and lead. Now, different suitors come from all over the world. Among them, the Prince of Morocco and Aragon, they try their luck, but they unfortunately fail. But Bassanio succeeds in choosing the right casket. At this point of time, they get the news in Belmont that Antonio's ships have been lost, and so the bond has been forfeited and Antonio is unable to repay his debt. Shylock demands his pound of flesh and brings the guys before the law court, and Portia, without anybody's knowledge, disguises herself as a young lawyer acting on behalf of Antonio and goes to Venice to fight the case for Antonio. Now her wit and her play of words and her legal knowledge all help her to save Antonio. She states that Shylock is entitled to his pound of flesh, but not a drop of Christian blood. Moreover, the Jew should forfeit his life for having conspired against the life of a Venetian. The judge pardons Shylock on one condition, that he gives half of his wealth to Antonio and the other half to the state coffer. But Antonio, who is known for his kindness, refuses to take his portion, and on one condition, that Shylock converts to a Christian immediately and leaves his property to his daughter Jessica and her lover Lorenzo, who is a Christian. Finally, after the case is won, they all proceed to Belmont, and there they get the good news about Antonio's ships. So this is the storyline. So we will have to go through line by line after this. Before I sum up, I just want to tell you that why we are reading MOV now. What is the relevance of Merchant of Venice in today's world? Now, as I told you, Merchant of Venice depicts hatred, depicts money, true wealth, friendship, love, justice, mercy. All these are very, very relevant in our times also. Okay? And over here we see that present day, what do we want? What is the want of the present day? The want is of sincerity, of moral values, and of justice. This is also depicted in Merchant of Venice. Now, as if you look around, you will see many cruel characters, many wrong, bad, negative characters like Shylock, and who go on exploiting people for money, for so many other things, and even drag them to the court. So, in this context, Shylock is also very relevant in the present day. Then we come to the religious intolerance which you see in Merchant of Venice between Christians and Jews. Here also we have the religious intolerance, and this religious intolerance in the present day has taken an ugly shape of terrorism. Finally, the depiction of Portia. Portia, the character of Portia is an embodiment of woman empowerment of the present day. The way her character is formed, the way she speaks, the way she behaves, the way she acts, the way she presents herself in the court, the confidence level, the liberty she has, everything speaks of the present day woman. So this is all for today, students. When we meet again, we are going to actually go into the text and read line by line, and I will explain you. Thank you, students.